Welcome to the Piece by Piece Autism Podcast with your hosts, Angie and Christi. They've worked 25 years to help Alec get the most out of life. Let them tell you how they're doing it.
Hey there, and welcome back to Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about friendships. Alec is 28 years old. He is nonverbal, autistic, and lives currently in a group home setting in Utah. Friendships have been something that have been very important to Alec since he could express his thoughts. He wanted friends, and I think he saw his older siblings have friends, and that was modeled to him, and we really were able to help facilitate and build relationships with peers of his and foster some of these friendships. So
you might wonder if friendships are even possible for your child. And we are here to tell you that yes, friendships are possible. In fact, one of Alec's very first friends was someone who Angie is very familiar with. You want to tell us about that, Angie?
Yes. So my youngest brother, Mr. Mark, we've called him Mr. Mark for
we loved Mr. Mark.
Many years. He is in similar age to Alec. And I, way back in the day, not to date myself too much, but I was back then one of Alec's caretakers and looking for ways to help Alec build friendships. And so what better place to start than my younger brother and bringing him around. And we obviously have known the Jensen family for a long time. And so he very easily knew and understood that plans might not work out. He was very patient with Alec, which I think allowed Alec a lot of grace. But if behavior wasn't great and things had to go a different way, Mark was just along for the ride, and he really understood that. He was also willing to learn how to communicate with Alec, and they really jived and built up this relationship so much so that Mark was willing and able to take him out. He would come pick him up, and they would go to Wendy's and grab a burger and hang out there, just the two dudes, and snap a selfie. They had a great time and built a relationship from there. And they actually ended up working together at a food pantry and had some other opportunities to build that relationship. But definitely friendships are possible, and you just start somewhere.
Did that make you nervous that first time they drove away by themselves?
Yes.
Because I think that would have made me nervous if I was witnessing that.
Yeah.
I would probably be wanting to track behind them and, you know.
I think it was important, though, for Alec to feel that this was, and I'm trying to remember, they were maybe 16 or 17. I mean, obviously Mark was driving, so at least that old, but
yeah.
For him to know that this guy, he's taken me out and I don't have to have somebody monitoring or mediating this with this friend, you know. This is my friend. This is my time to go and do and be one-on-one with this bro. And I think also Alec knew what was on the line, and it was like, okay, you can either behave yourself and this can happen, or we can have to have Cheech come along, make sure we're doing what we should be doing, you know. So that was really fun to see, and it went well, and they were able to do it many times after that. But that was a great relationship that started long, long ago and has continued even when we get to see him in Texas now. So
yeah, that reminds me though of when he got invited to go to the prom up here.
Oh, yes.
In Utah.
That was another great one. Yes.
Yeah, he got invited to go to that, and it was such a cool event. And your niece at the time was so generous in being his date, and she got the cutest dress. And they had the best time. They took pictures up at the museum, and it was just the full out prom experience. They went to a ballroom after the dinner that they had, and they were able to dance. And she took him out there and held his hand, and they were grooving, and he was rocking back and forth. And it was just, oh my gosh, my heart was so full of joy. Then we get home and we're talking about it and kind of doing the recap a day or two later. And do you remember what he said?
I don't.
Well, Alec, what did you think about the prom? I loved it. It was great. What did you think about Abby too? We called her Abby too, because
Yes.
we had a niece who's Abby too. Abby 1. I'm
Abby
sorry.
1.
Okay, Abby 2. I'm getting confused. Anyway, and I said, "Oh, okay, how did you like that?" And oh, Abby is such a good friend. I really like her. She's very pretty, whatever. And then I said, well, what were the things was there anything you didn't enjoy about it?
Mm-hmm.
That mom came along.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Buzzkill.
Boo. Anyway,
I
so
forgot about that.
those moments that he can be independent and be just a typical guy driving away. So
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Love Mark. Thank you, Mark. The next thing we would talk about would be, where do you find the friends? Where do you find them? We have got the most wonderful little work environment for Alec. We've talked about it before on our other podcasts. And he works with a wide variety of individuals, many with different disabilities. And he's finding comfort in those relationships. It's really sweet to see him working with them as a team, and how much cohesiveness that this group of people can have. Some of them speaking, some of them non-speaking, some of them acting like they're in charge and trying to boss people around, and seeing that they all just kind of ebb and flow, and they're all just kind of doing their job, and that's been fun to watch that. One of the places that we found a lot of friendships are in his team. The people that take care of him on a daily basis, they come in and it's a paid thing, and they leave being a close friend of Alec.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Usually. They stay connected, and it's just been so gratifying to see that, and it's been really special, the relationships that he's been able to foster that way. He's actually going to be a groomsman in one of the team members' weddings this coming weekend. And it's just, every time I think about that, it makes me almost break down in tears, because it's just was such a organic relationship. It started as a job, and they just became friends. And I've heard so many of the team members say, oh, he's one of my good friends. They refer to Alec as their good friend. And man, that feels satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very unexpected too. I mean, it was the most genuine and heartwarming invite. And of course,
Exactly.
This individual ran it past us to make sure it was doable. And I mean, it made me cry because it really was like, I'm not asking for this, for anything other than, I love this guy and I want him to be a part of my wedding, this really special day. And that's incredible. And I think he has so many relationships that are to that level. When they are in the area, they make an effort to stop by and check in and text and follow up and stay a part of his life. And that's really cool.
Yeah. The other thing is that these team member relationships will splinter off into other relationships. A lot of the team members will say, if he's going to have a get together, they'll say, oh, could I bring a plus one? Or, I've got a couple of friends that have always wanted to meet Alec. They've heard about him and they want to meet him. And it's just so sweet. And then if you think about the family members that have become friends with him, who were family members of the team, we had one of our new team members ask us, oh, could he stay out a little bit late because I want to drive him to where my family is to have dinner with them. And we're going to play cornhole, and we're going to do this and that. And he's going to meet a large portion of my family. And it ended up, he got the A-OK on that. He got an A+.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
And he's going to get invited back. So don't want to brag, but he's going to get invited back. And I'm so proud of him for behaving and for being just the sweet person that he is.
Yeah.
And so, it's been fun to see those relationships grow through the team. It's like, it's actually something I wasn't expecting, because I felt like our teams all through the years, I mean, he wasn't in this age category, right? I mean,
I do think having peers, I think he sees so many of his team members as, although he's now older than many of them, but he sees them as peers and they
Yeah.
do have things in common, and they check in with them, and he asks some funny questions about their dating life or what's
Yeah.
going on in their personal lives. And they really get to know him on a deep and intimate level. And I think because they're caring for him kind of around the clock, not kind of, but around the clock.
Yeah,
Whereas,
definitely. It's around the clock.
yeah. Whereas before it was, we had people coming in here and there throughout the week for shifts. It just is a different dynamic. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
I think
been
you're right.
to his benefit with these relationships. Because I know when he was living at home, we would get him together with other nonverbal autistic guys. There were a few that lived in the area that you guys were friends with, and it would require a mediator. And there were many a meetups that I would leave being the mediator being like, well, that was interesting, like these guys.
It might have gone well. I have no idea.
I have no idea. These two dudes were in the same room and we played some games or, we were trying to facilitate, and it didn't always seem like they were jiving or getting along, but we would come back and kind of recap, or they would express interest in getting together again. So it may not look on the surface as though friendships or relationships are forming, but these guys kind of have their own way of showing or interacting. And I think just allowing them a space to do that is important, whether or not, however it seems on the surface, just giving and providing those opportunities can turn into something really wonderful.
Yeah. Alec was once with one of those guys that you were just referring to. And I remember, his mom and I were in the front seat, and then the boys were in the back seat. And I looked back in my rearview mirror, or somehow I looked back, and they were kind of had their arms around each other.
Aww.
They were being so affectionate with each other in the sweetest brotherly way. And it just melted my heart because it was just so sweet. Just the innocence and the love that was being exchanged between the two of them, and just an embrace, and just organically happening. We were not orchestrating anything. We were not scripting anything. It just happened, and it was just so sweet to see that friendship.
Yeah, that's really great. I know another place we have found success in friendships for Alec is through like community activities. There's the Special Olympics that Alec has been a part of. Another that is nationwide is the Best Buddies program. He's been a part of that both in Texas as well as here in Utah. And they have a lot of meetups. We also have the opportunity to get together through our church groups and youth activities or different group settings that way. So those have all been successful ways that we've been able to help foster those relationships.
The next thing we wanted to cover was how to nurture friendships, because that's so important to keep the friendship going once you've got one. And one of the things is that we do have consistent get-togethers. We make sure to have that as a priority. And you can have one get-together that is a total flop. And so don't give up. If you're trying something and it doesn't work, then maybe go to the next thing. And try different locations, different activities. I know that Alec sometimes has gone to, like, we have the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas, and he has gone with the caretaker, and then he's had a friend go with a caretaker, and they all end up together. Now, the pictures look like they were having fun. I hope they were, but who knows? Who knows?
Another way to nurture these friendships is through common interests or activities, hobbies. And so something as simple as going out and grabbing a bite to eat, that truly was maybe Alec's first hobby. It might have been mine too.
He loved. Yeah, yeah, mine too.
Who doesn't
he
love going out?
Loves that.
Yeah,
he loves that almost more than anything. Or he did. I think his less and less maybe a huge reinforcer, but that was a big deal, and it's social.
Yeah, it's definitely something that just about anybody does. You meet up and go grab a bite to eat. So we would do something as simple as meeting up with friends for a meal. One really, really awesome relationship that Alec has now and has for many years and will for the long-term foreseeable future is his ski instructor. And this guy came to us just because we were looking for somebody that could ski and who was willing to be trained to ski with Alec. He has zero background in anything having to do autism related, but has truly become one of Alec's very best buddies. So they've done that through skiing, through boat week, through paddleboarding and different activities that Blake has prioritized outside of the ski season, because that is only for a short time, but he really prioritizes that friendship by seeing him outside of those weekly shifts in the wintertime.
Yeah, so we really try to prioritize, focus on those relationships and making sure that we make the time in a schedule, that we accommodate by sometimes driving up his way, because he lives about an hour or so away from Alec currently, because he graduated from school here and took a job north of here. And so, there's stuff we have to do to make it a priority.
Yeah.
And it is extra, consideration, but man, has that been really worth it?
Yeah.
I look back on that. I'm very happy with that first meetup that we had with Blake at the pizza factory.
That's right.
And just seeing their relationship just flourish. And, he gave Alec his first Red Bull. They've had some important moments together as bros.
Oh, I love it. And like we said, former team members come by and stay connected with Alec. I know one of the hardest things in the way that we have structured Alec's home here is that these peers kind of move on at some point. We've had some stay for many, many years, but they eventually move on with life. And that sadly means saying goodbye to Alec and this job. But as we have seen team members go, and so many of them boomerang right back and say, hey, right, or check back in. I think it's really meant a lot to Alec and made that transition easier for him to say, okay, you're not going to be working with me 2 days a week, but I'll see you in October at my Halloween party. Or you're going to check in with me on my birthday. Or, he trusts the relationships are now genuine. And I think that's important to him.
I think that's made people coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
He's just accepted that's just part of life. And
yeah.
that was such a big grown up moment for him when he really started to seemingly internalize that thought.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved it. One of his old team members was back for his Halloween party this last week. And she came up to me and she said, I need more Alec in my life. And I said, well, you know what? You are welcome to come back here anytime. We would love to have you to, to dinner or to just come hang out at the house and do a game with them or a presence activity or whatever you want to do. Go out and swing in the hammock. But we really, really, really love those relationships. And he's gotten so much out of them. And I'm grateful for that.
I mean, if we got out a piece of paper and started writing down friendships or people who, have come and gone as team members who genuinely have a connection and a friendship with Alec, I don't even know how long our list would be, which is super, super cool. So find ways to nurture those friendships and give those opportunities, even if they are with mom tagging along. I think that might have to be the case for some, especially at the beginning, but just find those opportunities and be consistent with get-togethers, even though they may not look like your typical friendship get-together. And that's okay, because friendships often look different for these guys, but that doesn't mean that they can't happen and be genuine and meaningful. So that is a wrap for today's episode of Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. We would love your support by spreading the word and sharing the show. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. That's PIECE, Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.